And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people of this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
In all 30 states that track party registration, we're putting on the screen the data. It shows altogether Democrats have lost 2.1 million voters. Republicans have gained 2.4 million. That's a deficit that you have of 4.5 million voters.
It was very difficult, and I got myself into some bad places. It hurt my heart that America believed the lies about him.
So that just tells you how tough it's going to be for Democrats to fight their way back when it comes to control of Congress or potentially the presidency down the road. It's hard to create a wave if voters are fleeing your party. This is just a stunning analysis that the New York Times has out in the last couple of days. You've seen nationwide a drop in Democratic registration numbers. And in the battleground states, it's just as stark. Look at this. The share of registered Democrats down almost 4 points in Arizona just since 2020. Nevada, more than 8 points. North Carolina, Pennsylvania. All of these big battlegrounds have lost Democrats in large numbers, again, just this decade.
We had way fewer House seats than we should have. One, if the Democrats hadn't aggressively gerrymandered, and two, if illegal aliens weren't counted in the census for purposes of apportioning congressional seats. The best estimates I've seen is that in California, for example, has 5 additional congressional seats than it should have because they count illegal aliens for the purpose of apportioning representatives. Meanwhile, Ohio, my home state, lost a representative. We're literally losing representatives for American citizens in order to give congressional representation to illegal aliens. Republicans are trying to balance out the scales a little bit for basic fairness and for the integrity of our democracy, which the president cares about as much as anybody in the country.
So what we've got here is J.D. Vance is on today with Kristen Welker on a show called Meet the Depressed. And he basically had to explain like a 5th grader to Kristen why and how gerrymandering has worked and how it's been manipulated. The news media has lost all control. And as the news media loses control, the Democrat Party's decline is directly proportional. Because I feel like for the longest time that the news media has been doing work for the Democrat Party, sort of towing the party line in fashion with an opposition move with Donald Trump. But now Donald Trump is so far ahead of the Democrat Party, so far ahead of the news media that they can no longer play offense. It's all defense. And it seems like the Democrat Party and the news media are 2 to 3 steps behind. We're going to cover a lot of these clips from this interview, but I'd love to get your take. Has the news media lost control? Number one. And in the past, has the news media and the Democrat Party been working in conjunction? Tulsi Gabbard said Operation Mockingbird was a real thing. We're starting to see it now as the decline of the news media goes hand in hand with the decline of the Democrat Party.
Where exactly is the pressure on Russia to do anything if you're not right now imposing new sanctions? How do you get them to a place of getting to the table with Zelensky and stopping to drop bombs?
But Kristen, I think that question betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of where we are. The president has applied aggressive economic leverage, for example, the secondary tariffs on India to try to make it harder for the Russians to get rich from their oil economy. He's tried to make it clear that Russia can be reinvited into the world economy if they stop the killing, but they're going to continue to be isolated if they don't stop the killing. The president has applied more economic pressure to the Russians to stop this war than Biden did in 3 years. So the idea that we're not doing anything, we're already doing things right now. And this is how negotiation works. You do something, you talk to the parties, you try to see if there's a meeting of minds. Again, we believe we've already seen some significant concessions from both sides just in the last few weeks. We're going to eventually be successful or we'll hit a brick wall. And if we hit a brick wall, then we're going to continue.
Once again, J.D. Vance has to explain to Kristen Welker how negotiations work. It's give, it's take, it's Vladimir Putin, we're going to do this if you do this. It's Zelensky, if you do this, we will do that. Now, during the Biden administration, there was never even one small effort by Biden and his band of village clowns to ever meet with Vladimir Putin. But by coming to some common ground, we could very well get another peace deal done. Donald Trump is averaging a peace deal every 3.5, almost 4 weeks. If we get another peace deal done, this is amazing. The other thing that it does, it removes, once again, the boogeyman in the room that the media has painted for Russia. I'm not saying Russia has been innocent in anything, but I will say that the Democrat Party, as much as they hate Russia, will never bring up the fact that Hillary Clinton sold Russia 20% of the United States uranium supply. They will never talk about that. They will also never talk about the $300+ billion that we gave to Ukraine with no guarantees of ever getting that money back or any semblance of recuperation for you, the American taxpayer. That is something that is very disturbing. Let's move on to the next one.
But a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution, Kristen? A lot of people who tried to throw Donald Trump in prison for completely fake charges that were later thrown out by multiple different courts. I suspect that if the media and the American people let this case actually unfold, if they let the investigation unfold as it's currently doing, they're going to find out that what we're doing is being very deliberate and being very driven by the national interest and by the law here, and that's as it should be.
But a lot of people have already looked at this and
is it really retribution if Donald Trump is now implementing a real Justice Department? For 4 years under Biden, the Justice Department was really just singular focused. Narrative was driven at one person only, Donald Trump. The Justice Department didn't do anything to close the border, secure the border, make elections more transparent and fair and without corruption. They did nothing of that. Their single point of focus during the entire time was Donald Trump. Orange man bad. We can never let him get back in office. He's a fascist. We never really got any real information from the Thomas Crooks, Butler, Pennsylvania incident. We never got any information from Dylan Ruth down at Mar-a-Lago hiding the bushes. We never got any of that. We still don't have answers for that. We know more about Zohran Mamdani's bench press than we do about a person that literally tried to take the president's life. Think about it. The news media, once again, the irony and the hypocrisy of the news media. They want to be this soothsayer of truth, but yet they've not really done any investigative reporting on things that matter. I don't even know if we really understand what happened in Vegas with that whole fracas. Do you remember that? It's been so long ago, I don't know if we remember any.
Wall Street Journal is reporting that Elon Musk is halting his plans to create a new political party, in part because he wants to support you for president in 2028. I know you've been asked about this. You said you have not discussed this with him.
That's right.
But do you see yourself as the apparent future of the MAGA movement?
Oh, here's the trap question.
As a vice president who's trying to do a good job for the American people, Kristen, and if I do a good job and if the president continues to be successful, as I know that he will be, the politics will take care of itself. We can cross that bridge when we come to it. But we just had an election 7 months ago. I think I'm probably like most Americans, and I'm already sick of talking about politics after a big general election. The next election that matters is not the election of 2028. It's 2026. So before we talk about anything 3.5 years down the road, let's take a break from politics, focus on governing the country. And when we return to politics, it's going to be to focus on those midterm elections.
Have you had any?
That is the kind of answer I want from a potential candidate in 2028, number one. It's also the kind of answer I want from a vice president that has just let me and the American people know he doesn't care about 3.5 years from now. He cares about right now. He cares about the problems we've got right now with our border, with our sanctuary cities, with crime across America, with New York City possibly electing a socialist mayor. That's the kind of answer I want. And Krista Welker with Meet the Depressed tried to trap him and paint J.D. Vance into being on this campaign narrative for 3.5 years. J.D. Vance just laid it out. He is not campaigning. He wants America to succeed. He wants the American people to be successful. He wants you to have more of your own money, and he's putting America first, which is really odd for most Democrats. They may not even understand how unselfish this guy actually is, no matter how much they attack him. And it's really, really beautiful to see. Leave a comment down below if you think J.D. Vance may be the 2028 candidate for the Republican Party, and who you think might be the 2028 Democrat candidate. Because right now, I think the candidates for the Democrat Party are so far out of touch with the American people, I don't even know who they pick. Zoran Mamdani, AOC, Gavin Newsom, Wes Moore, which is who I really think will be the candidate, the governor out of Maryland. He's got a little stolen valor stuff in his back pocket. There are a lot of questions with him, but I believe he is possibly Obama 3.0. Maybe Pete Buttigieg. Do you see Kamala put down the bottle and come back out? I don't know. Leave a comment down below. Let's get on to the next clip here.
I absolutely think it's showing signs of working. And let's take a look at the voters who know Gavin Newsom best. Those voters out in California, those California Democrats. California Democrats and Newsom for governor. You go back to 2023, just 35% wanted him to run for president. Look at the percentage now who are excited for a run for president for Gavin Newsom. What is that? That's a 40-point climb. My goodness gracious. A rising tide of support for Gavin Newsom. Remember back in...
I think I can explain this. I think the people in California are so excited to get rid of him that's where the spike in support is. And outside of California, I think Gavin Newsom is really, really out of touch. Now, some YouTubers have had him on and just let him run his mouth and never really question anything. And I will throw a rock at the Sean Ryan glass house. I think Sean let him off very cheaply without pushing back on any of his radical views. But hey, maybe he was mesmerized by the hands and all this other magic stuff that he does. But do you believe that him rising in California polls has anything to do with the amount of Republicans that are moving out of California? And the Democrat support is naturally higher. Not only that, have any of you ever had a phone call from a pollster? I'm 50 years old. I've never had a phone call. Worked in politics for a number of years. Never had a phone call from a pollster. Think about it. Once again, the news media losing control.
Mortgage company Fannie Mae says you're, quote, engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation on several loans. Are these allegations true? How do you respond to them?
They're patently false. And the president knows it, and the housing agency, president's person, Pulte, knows it. He's essentially doing the president's bidding.
Oh, right.
Against me, against Letitia James, against this person on the Federal Reserve. Mortgage is their new weapon to go after their critics.
So we've got a Federal Reserve board member, mortgage fraud, Letitia James, mortgage fraud, Adam Schiff, mortgage fraud, all alleged. But are you starting to see a pattern here? There's 3 of them. I believe Letitia James was going to be the next attorney general if Kamala Harris would have won. I believe Adam Schiff would probably have been director of national intelligence, director of the CIA, something along those lines if Kamala Harris would have won. So they bought these houses in and around D.C., Virginia area, thinking they were going to be moving there. They would rescind their seats in California, in New York, and everything would be hunky-dory, but they forgot. And the big problem is Donald Trump won. Let's finish this clip. Adam Schiff is really in hot water, real hot water.
But I've been very open about my residency, both in California and in Maryland, with my constituents and with the lenders. So there's no there. But the common denominator is they will manufacture anything to go after their critics, after members of Congress to try to silence them, after John Bolton, after people on the Federal Reserve, after generals, after former presidents.
Sounds familiar.
Investigating Comey and Clapper, the Obamas.
Doesn't this all sound familiar? Just change the names to protect the guilty? It's exactly what the Biden Department of Justice did. Merrick Garland did the exact same thing, and it was okay then. But now Donald Trump has his Justice Department investigating adversaries, people that actually tried to take him out, tried to send him to prison, tried to take his livelihood, and now suddenly it's a weaponization of the Justice Department. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, am I wrong here? Am I completely wearing the MAGA hat and just not seeing things as clear as I should? Or am I seeing exactly what's happening? I would love to get some advice from you all. Help me figure this out.
Technically, it's free reign with a corrupt leadership at the Justice Department.
And just very quickly, will you cooperate with the investigation?
Oh, well, we have, and we've refuted their allegations. In fact, we put it in writing, but it doesn't matter.
So he didn't say he would.
What matters to them is the intimidation campaign, and they're going to mount it against anyone who stands up to the president. But I'm not backing down, and I have to hope that others will stand up to this.
So he didn't say he would cooperate with the investigation. It's kind of like that good people on both sides thing where they just cut that clip. So he didn't say that he was going to cooperate. Just sounds like he hopes other people stand up and not cooperate as well. Let's move on to the next clip here. This is brilliant.
And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
So out of Chicago, we've got Mayor Brandon Johnson here out of Chicago. And he is now saying that they are going to actively take it to the streets. But the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, is planning to deploy 1,900, maybe 1,700 troops across the United States to sanctuary cities to clean them up. They just ran the test in D.C. It worked. Crime is down.
1,700 National Guard troops are now set to mobilize across 19 states over the coming weeks. They are going to help Homeland Security execute a sweeping federal crime and immigration crackdown that is underway now. The order is effective August through mid-November, Fox News is learning. And a U.S. defense official tells Jackie Heinrich and Liz Frieden the National Guard being mobilized will effectively serve as a support pillar.
There's the October surprise, August through November. I am all for this. I'd love to know how many of you would like to see this. Now, they're assisting. They're not actually doing arrest or arrest powers. So we haven't violated habeas corpus. There is no martial law. But what this does, it's a show of force. And we have deployed military members around the world to do the exact same thing. And now Donald Trump has basically trapped the Democrat Party into being the party of being pro-crime. If you're against stopping crime, you're pro-crime. That's just the way it is. There's no in between. And I love seeing this because now the Democrat Party is backed into a corner. They have no way to run, nowhere to run, except supporting criminals. It's a brilliant move. And once again, media's lost control, Democrat Party's declining, and the narrative is unraveling. Guys, thanks for watching. What we're seeing in real time is the Democrat Party sink, implode. I don't know what adjective you want me to use that I can use here on YouTube, but I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate your time. The Pig's Hat's not law enforcement. It's the Razorbacks. I live here in Arkansas. Go Hogs. Football season's about to start up. They need all the help they can get. If you want to support the channel, you can do so right here. Join the channel as a member. It helps me with the efforts that I have helping a group of veterans with service dogs. And if you want to make a donation to the channel without YouTube sort of taking a cut out of it, there's the little Cash App. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for what you do. It means a lot. I'll see you on the road. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the President of the United States.